G'day travellers, welcome to my guided 15-night itinerary of Morocco. In this video, I'm going to take you through the itinerary I followed, show you all the top sites I visited, and hopefully give you a few tips to make your trip even better. Morocco was an absolutely amazing place to visit, nothing like anywhere else I've been before. The country's rich history and culture is on display everywhere you go, and each place has something new to offer. A mixture of African, Middle Eastern, and European vibes make Morocco a truly unique destination, and one I thoroughly recommend. I spent 15 nights in Morocco, thought it was the perfect amount of time. It allowed me to see everything I wanted to. While I wouldn't say there was anything I didn't enjoy, there are definitely some things you could cut out if you're on a shorter time frame, so I'll aim to highlight a few potential variations to the plan. So my itinerary starts in Casablanca. The largest city in Morocco, a lot of tourists actually skip it, as it's not as full of historical sites as some of the other locations around the country. I spent 2 nights here, and I enjoyed it, but if you're short on time, you could cut it back to 1, particularly if you arrive early in the day. The star attraction of Casablanca is easily the Hassan II Mosque, the largest mosque in Morocco, and it's the only one that's open to non-Muslims. Tours run every hour on the hour, and a ticket includes entry to the grounds and the small museum next door. While the mosque is beautiful at any time of the day, I highly recommend sticking around to watch the sunset behind the mosque over the Atlantic Ocean. Other sites in Casablanca include Sacré-Cœur, the Arab League Park, and Mohammed V Square. Now I know what you're thinking, what about the movie Casablanca? Well, the sad news is that it was filmed entirely in Hollywood. But there is a Rick's Cafe that's been built as an homage to the film. After Casablanca, we're heading north to Tangier. You could certainly add a night here if you have the time, or if you cut out a night elsewhere, and I could definitely see the appeal. Tangier is a beautiful coastal town where the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea meet. Just out of town, you can visit the actual spot where they converge and explore the famous Caves of Hercules. Tangier is home to a medina, or old city, a fortress known as a Kasbah, and a bustling port. From the walls of the Kasbah, you can look across the Strait of Gibraltar, and on a clear day, you can see Spain. After Tangier, it's just a short drive to Chefchaouen, the blue pearl of Morocco. Chefchaouen was one of the main reasons I wanted to visit Morocco, and it totally lived up to the hype. The ancient town would be beautiful on its own, but the buildings of the old Medina have been painted a striking blue, making every doorway and alleyway burst with colour. The true reason for the blue is unknown. Some say it helps keep the city cool, others believe it keeps away mosquitoes, and some think it stems from the city's Jewish roots. Whatever the reason, it makes Chefchaouen one of the absolute highlights of my time in Morocco. I spent 2 nights here, and while you could do it in 1, I highly recommend having 2 just to give yourself time to truly explore. It's pretty easy to get lost in the alleyways of the Medina, which sounds bad, but it's actually what you want to do, because every alleyway looks different. I recommend starting your day early to avoid the crowds, and begin at the bottom of the old Medina, working your way up the hill. In the middle of the old town is the Kasbah. You'll need to buy a ticket to get in, but it's well worth it to visit the tranquil gardens within and to escape the crowds in the town square. The Kasbah also offers some beautiful angles to witness the bustling Medina below. Continue working your way up until you reach the waterfall. This freshwater stream runs through the Medina and provides the town with its fresh water for drinking, cooking and cleaning. You can even still see people washing their clothes downstream. Above the waterfall, looking down over the Medina, is the Spanish Mosque. The short walk up is definitely worth it, particularly for the sunset, where you can watch the sun disappear behind the Rif Mountains with the blue Medina below. Hot tip, you don't need to arrive too early. I did think I'd grab the best spot, but then latecomers just ended up setting up in front of me anyway. If you want to get there early though, I recommend taking some snacks and drinks. There's a cafe there, but it's not always open. After sunset, head back down through the Medina and have dinner in the town square, where you'll be treated to a show by street performers. Our next stop is Volubilis. As a history nerd, the Roman ruins of Volubilis were a must-do for me, and it's basically on the road to Fez anyway. While most of the ruins date back between 1700 and 2000 years, there's evidence of occupation as far back as 5,000 years ago. Some of the remaining ruins are extremely well preserved, such as the archway and several of the mosaics. Next, it's on to the spiritual and cultural capital of Morocco, Fez, a city where it truly feels like time has stood still. The ancient Medina of Fez al-Bali is the oldest and largest Medina in North Africa and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. There's no cars allowed in the central market, but that doesn't mean it's easy to get around. The Medina is a labyrinth, and unlike Chefchaouen, you don't want to get lost in this one. I recommend hiring a guide to show you through the market so you can see the most of it. Without a guide, stick to small corners and take note of landmarks. The Medina boasts a wealth of traditional Islamic architecture and souks selling everything from spices to copperwares. The tannery on the outskirts of the Medina is one of the most famous sites in the city. While the smell is less than pleasant, learning about the process of creating leather goods is extremely interesting. If you're in the market for a leather bag or a jacket, this is definitely the place to be. Fez is also home to exquisite potters making traditional ceramics and claywares. The perfect place to pick up a tagine or something mosaic to take home. Outside the Medina is the Royal Palace and the Old Jewish Quarter, and beyond that is the New City, which is basically just a modern city. During my 2 nights there, I found myself staying in the New City, which limited my evening activities to the immediate vicinity of my hotel. I'd recommend staying closer to the Medina for a more vibrant experience. Our next stop is Ifrane, Morocco's Little Switzerland. This little alpine town in the Middle Atlas Mountains really does feel like you've been transported to the Swiss Alps, making it a great place to stop for a coffee and stretch your legs. From there, it's only a short drive to visit the Barbary macaques. These unique monkeys are the only macaques found outside of Asia, the only apes in North Africa besides humans, and one of the few types of monkeys without a tail. Now, these macaques are wild, but there's clearly no doubt that locals made a trade out of them. As soon as you get there, you'll have locals trying to sell you peanuts to feed the monkeys. The trick is that they don't really like peanuts, so you're basically throwing your money away and giving food to monkeys that they shouldn't be eating anyway. I recommend stopping to see the monkeys, but don't give any money to anyone who clearly doesn't have their best interests at heart. Also remember, they are wild, so please don't touch them. From here, it's a long drive with some breathtaking views of the Atlas Mountains. Parts of the countryside make you feel like you're on another planet, and a lot of the rock formations resemble something like the Grand Canyon. Or if you're like me, who hasn't been to the Grand Canyon, it looks like something out of a Roadrunner cartoon. Arriving in the Sahara Desert is something else entirely, and this was the other absolute highlight of the trip for me, along with Chefchaouen. The Erg Shipi Dunes are one of the country's most iconic and breathtaking natural wonders, representing a classic image of the Sahara Desert. This sea of dunes stretches approximately 28 kilometres across, with individual dunes reaching heights of 150 metres. I recommend staying in an auberge outside of Merzouga, rather than in the town itself. These traditional hotels sit directly on the edge of the dunes and feels like a self-contained compound. 2 nights in the desert was perfect, but honestly, I felt like I could have stayed there forever just marvelling at the dunes. Just sitting back and watching the shadows dance on the dunes was an awe-inspiring experience which I honestly struggled to find the words to describe. I could have spent days just sitting there and taking it all in. But there's more to do in the desert than just watch the dunes. I went 4-wheel driving and visited the nomadic Berbers who live in the desert camps. Towards the town of Merzouga is a beautiful oasis, a garden full of palm trees and small plots where locals can grow their own crops using traditional irrigation methods. And then, the absolute highlight of the desert was riding camels up the dunes to watch the sunset. After the sun sets, rug up and head outside to watch the stars come out, as there is almost no light pollution to diminish them. One thing I wish I'd known before heading to the desert was that there's nowhere to buy alcohol. So if you like to have a drink, I recommend stocking up in Fez and bringing enough to last for your stay. The next day, we head to Todra Gorge, a spectacular natural wonder located in the eastern part of the Highlands Mountains. The gorge was carved over millennia by the Todra River, which has meticulously eroded its way through massive limestone cliffs. This geological process has created a dramatic series of deep canyons and riverbeds. Its towering rock walls with sheer cliffs rise hundreds of metres on either side, sometimes just 10 to 20 metres apart at the base. If you're on a tight schedule, you could skip the gorge. There's not a lot to see or do there besides admiring the gorge itself, unless you're into rock climbing or abseiling, which I'm absolutely not. One night was more than enough for me, but you could cut it out completely or just stop off to have a look. After Todra Gorge, we head to Ait Benhaddou, another UNESCO World Heritage site and a famous Hollywood backdrop. The site of Ait Benhaddou dates back over 900 years, with the historic Casbah dating back to the 17th century. The Casbah has featured in dozens of epic Hollywood productions, like Lawrence of Arabia, Gladiator 1 and 2, not that there ever should have been a sequel, Alexander, Kingdom of Heaven, Game of Thrones, and of course, the 1999 cinematic masterpiece, The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. From Ait Benhaddou, we head up into the high Atlas Mountains. If you're not a fan of hiking on mountains, you can probably skip this stop as well, but I really enjoyed it. The hike from Imlil Toubkal village to the mountaintop village only takes about 45 minutes, and while it is steep, it's a relatively easy hike. My group had people in their 70s and 80s who managed just fine. A couple of others opted to get a local driver and said that they actually feared for their life the entire time due to the narrow road on the side of the cliff. The hike itself is lovely, leading through apple and cherry orchards with several cascading waterfalls and beautiful views of the surrounding Atlas Mountains. And the reward at the top is the stunning panoramic views of Toubkal Mountain. At over 4,000 metres high, Toubkal is the highest peak in Morocco, North Africa, and the entire Arab world. If you're really into hiking, you can continue on to the summit, but this will take you anywhere from 1 to 7 days depending on your fitness and the company you choose to go with. I was happy to stop in the village for a night and enjoy the hospitality of a small family-run guest house. The hike down the valley the next day is even easier, with stunning views of the surrounding mountains. Then it's on to Essaouira, the Windy City. Essaouira is a charming coastal city on the Atlantic Ocean. Think hippie, surfy vibes. Many people say Essaouira is the highlight of Morocco, and while I don't entirely agree, I definitely think it's worth the trip, but just not for the beaches. Maybe I'm just spoiled coming from Australia, but the beaches around Essaouira didn't really impress me. What did impress me though was the historic medina and the ramparts, the 18th century fortifications built to protect the city from pirates and invading navies. The ramparts are impressive from below, and from up top, you get beautiful views of the Atlantic Ocean. Across the water, several islands with ruins provide a beautiful backdrop to watch one of the best sunsets I've ever seen. If the ramparts look familiar, that's because they were used in Game of Thrones as well. Remember back in season 3, before the show went downhill, when Daenerys frees the Unsullied army in Astapor? Yep, that was Essaouira. Instead of an army of eunuchs though, you'll find a navy of blue fishing boats which bring in the day's catch. One of the highlights of Essaouira is ordering fresh seafood from the fishmongers and watching them cook it over coals to serve you for lunch. One night in Essaouira is plenty, unless you're into wind or kite surfing, then you might want to stay longer. Otherwise, it's a great place to relax, buy a few souvenirs, or maybe try a hammam, a traditional massage and spa experience. And our final stop is Marrakech, where we'll spend 2 nights to properly explore. I won't lie, Marrakech was a bit disappointing for me. Like everywhere else in Morocco, the city's main feature is the Medina. And while the Jama El Fna Medina is impressive, it didn't stand out from any of the others around the country. The adjoining square, considered the largest in Africa, was extremely seedy. Pushy hawkers selling knockoff Gucci sunglasses, snake charmers, and men with chained up monkeys charging tourists for a photo or a chance to pose with an exotic. I really didn't enjoy that part of Marrakech, and it unfortunately left a bit of sour note at the end of the trip. What I did enjoy was Le Jardin Majorel, or Majorel Gardens, commonly known as the Yves Saint Laurent House. The house and gardens were built by French architect Jacques Majorel and later bought and restored by Yves Saint Laurent. The brightly coloured house and surrounding gardens are one of Morocco's most popular tourist attractions, which means you need to book a ticket and book well in advance. Spots are limited and entry is restricted to certain times. I recommend going early before the crowds and the heat, or whenever you can manage to score a time slot. Another of the city's biggest attractions is Bahia Palace, which showcase exquisite Moroccan and Islamic architecture and mosaic work. The nearby secret garden is anything but secret, and the crowds almost make it not worth it, especially compared to the Majorel Gardens. I highly recommend visiting El Badi Palace, which are the ruins of a once magnificent 16th century palace. Despite being completely stripped, the sheer size and scale of the palace is impressive and highly rewarding if you're a history nerd like me. With 2 nights here, you'll have ample time to really soak in these sights and perhaps enjoy some of Marrakech's culinary delights. And there we have it, 15 nights in Morocco. I hope you enjoyed my video as much as I enjoyed making it. Visiting Morocco was an incredible experience, from the rich history and vibrant culture to the breathtaking natural beauty, which varies from desert to snow-capped mountains and everything in between. Hopefully this video gave you a bit of inspiration and will help you plan out an amazing trip. If you like this video, make sure you like it, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel for more content. Until next time, happy travels.